Okay, now I think I'm live. I Am I actually live? Because it's not showing up yet. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. All right, so we're officially live. Sorry, guys, I was having a little bit of a technical issue, I guess. But yeah, hi, everybody. Welcome to this live show. It's just going to be a really chill one. We're just going to be basically hanging out. I know that I said that I was going to be trying to do live shows at least like once a week during quarantine, and last week it got a little bit hectic, but I'm glad we scheduled out this one for today. We're just going to be doing some journaling. I actually loved this idea. One of you guys told me in my last live show that I should just journal with you guys in one of them. I don't really know how you're going to see it, so we'll get to that when we get to it. But basically, I still haven't done my weekly spread for this week. Yesterday was a little bit of a failure, to put it mildly. I just stayed in bed all day. I got a little bit of a headache. So I just am going to be setting out my weekly spread with you guys. My theme right now, if you're wondering, this is my life journal, not my reading journal. And the theme is like a kind of photography situation. So the colors are very like pinky blues and neutral grays. And I see people asking if we're going to read today. I didn't put it into the title because I don't know if I'm going to be reading, but you guys are obviously more than welcome to read yourself. So I know that I will probably just be journaling, and while I do some journaling, we can probably have some like reading breaks where you guys read for 15 minutes and I journal for 15 minutes. And then I also was thinking about potentially playing some Animal Crossing while we all kind of chilled and chit-chatted. So it isn't technically a read-in at all. I mean, I'm just not going to be doing the reading, but you guys are, again, more than welcome to. But yeah, so thank you guys for the love on my theme. I keep grabbing the wrong mouse. I had to do this on my laptop because like the live service that I use, I don't have like the right browser for it on my actual desktop, so I keep accidentally grabbing like my desktop mouse when it's not connected to my laptop. So it's been fun. But yeah. All right, so let's kind of just get started with the journaling. That way I can get my life a little bit together. So for my weekly spreads, I tend to like more of like here, let me show you some examples from last month. But I've tried a few different ways. At this point, I've only done 1 month, but so I've tried like the little boxes, which this doesn't really work for me. I've never liked a box layout in general in planners. I've always liked like an up and down kind of hourly layout, but this one, it was almost like too much space. But then when I tried it again like this to have like the 7 days, it was too little space. I did find that this kind was pretty good for me. It's like a kind of random to-do list sort of situation, but yeah. And then this kind, I mean, it's okay, like this whole square thing, but it's just not my favorite, I guess. So I do prefer like the up and down, but that is what I did for last week's spread, and I don't want to do like the exact same thing. So I think I'm going to try and do some kind of like hourly spread again, but we'll see how it turns out. And I normally, last month I was putting like the whole little calendar, the mini calendar on the side with a to-do list, and I don't end up using it. So I'm not putting that in for this month. I'm just putting in like the month and then the days of the week that it goes to. So like this one from last month, it said like May 4 to 10. So this month, or this week, will obviously be May 11th through the 17th, right? Yeah. And I start my weeks on Monday, if you're wondering. I never start them on Sundays. It confuses me. So yeah. Is there anything you guys wanted to chit chat about? Like maybe I can kind of look up and try and answer some questions while I do some journaling. I see Gwendolyn asked if I have any tips for someone who wants to start a bullet journal. My best tip is honestly to YouTube things. I feel like such a broken record because I know I say that to like my parents, I say that to my boyfriend. Like whenever they ask me anything, they're like, oh, do you have any tips on how to draw? Or do you have any tips on this? Or do you have any tips on that? My mom was asking me like, oh, I want to start like doing yoga, but I know I can't because of my shoulders. And I was like, just YouTube it. Like YouTube has so many answers. That's what I do. It's like one of the first things that I ever do when I want to try something new. Let's say I'm trying like a new art medium or anything. I just YouTube it. Like I look up, let's say like, so I did an acrylic painting this past weekend and I've never really worked with acrylics before. So at one point I did actually look up like acrylic painting tips and like all these different videos popped up, and not all of them are going to work obviously, but definitely some are going to. So that's always my biggest tip, especially because there's so many amazing bullet journalers here on YouTube. I personally started with Amanda Rachley. I feel like she is like the queen of bullet journaling, so she's always a good place to start, and her spreads are really like simplistic. They're really, really nice, but they're so easy to follow. So I would probably start with looking at other people's bullet journals and kind of seeing what works for you. It's really trial and error. Like you're never going to really know until you finally settle down and start doing it for yourself. And so for the acrylic painting that I was talking about, if you follow me on Twitter or on, oh, I didn't post it on Instagram, but if you follow me on Twitter, then you probably saw the picture. It was actually of one of my dogs that had passed away last year. So it was on a canvas and it was for Mother's Day. I gave it to my mom. As far as favorite markers, yes, kind of. I have like the 100 pack of the Crayola Super Tips, and these are good. I feel like I never reach for them though, honestly. I mean, when I do, I'm always kind of just, I have that like chat with myself where I'm like, I should reach for these more often because I have so many colors, but I don't. I think that for journaling specifically, I just really like the Tombow dual brush pens. They're like the classic pen that I think most people end up using in their bullet journals. They look like this. I have a few, but surprisingly not a lot of a color variety, but they're really good just because you can shade with them. They can be pretty light, or you can do some like brushwork if you want to do more like lettering. And then they also have this little like thin marker side for like line work if you really want to get into it. But I like them, and they obviously don't bleed. The one thing that I dislike about them, but this also happens with the Crayola Super Tips, is that when you layer them, the area that like overlays will be darker, so it's not going to be like a very smooth process. But I mean that's just me being nitpicky. Ooh, this one's fun. Oh gosh, I loaded and then it kind of disappeared. So here, Sundare asked, what shows have I been binge watching? Let me start actually journaling while I'm answering these. And so if you guys have been watching my vlogs, then you know that I was watching Criminal Minds for a while. I started a rewatch of it in March and I loved it. Like, I forgot how much I adored that show, and I'd never done like a full watch through. I'd only ever watched it when it was on TV. So it was really, really fun. And I watched it almost twice, I think. I like finished it and then I went back and watched the beginning again. So that was what I was doing with my time. And then, because I'd already kind of ran through all my Disney Plus shows that I wanted to rewatch, like Hannah Montana. But I just started Lucifer on Netflix, and I love it. I'm still on the first season, I think. I only just started it, but I'm like at the end of the first season, and it's really, really good. I actually started watching it because my dad, he is like a show watcher. Like he binges shows like it's nobody's business, and he does it really fast. So he actually started this in like January and finished it in January, and he told me that he thought that I'd like it. And then I told my mom that, and she tried watching it. If you guys were aware, my mom's Argentinian, so she sometimes has trouble understanding British accents. Like she still has not been able to watch all of the Harry Potter movies and understand what's going on, which is just adorable. So she just doesn't watch them. And Lucifer has a British accent, so she didn't like the show just because, you know, she doesn't really understand what was happening. But I love it. It's just doing really, it's hitting the right spots for me because it's a little bit of crime, it's a little bit of sexy. and it has like cool biblical references, which normally I don't know. I grew up Catholic, so I went to Catholic school and everything. So it's kind of fun to see them in a show. But since I haven't really gone to church or like practiced or anything like that, like I'm not devout, I guess. So, but still seeing it in a show is really, really cool. Cassie says that Netflix only has season 4 of Lucifer. Mine actually has season 1. Let me double check though, because that would be pretty funny if I've been watching. Oh wait, my keyboard is. Oh, this is fun. Okay, so which villagers do I have in my Animal Crossing? I haven't like really perfected like what villagers I want. I know that there's a black cat that's named Kiki, and ever since I found out about that one, like, because I looked up all the best villagers, obviously, and he was on the list. Ever since I found out about that one, I really wanted it because obviously I love Kiki's delivery service, and I want a little black cat that reminds me of T'Challa on my island, but I haven't found him. I think he's kind of harder to find. Oh my gosh, I'm on season 2, episode 1 of Lucifer. Look at me go. When did I get there? But trying to see right now what seasons are on here because watch me. Oh yeah, it only has until season 4. I don't know how many seasons there are in it, but at least we have the beginning. But yeah, I have currently one of my favorite islanders is Fuchsia. She's like this cute little, I think she's a pig, but she's adorable. She's one of my first villagers, and she's just so sweet. She's always like a good time. She's always happy, and she's a little bit sassy, which I like. And then I just invited her to my island. Her name's Daisy, and she's a little puppy, and she's just so cute and sweet, and I'm in love with her. I have a little rhino with like a strawberry shortcake kind of theme, and her name's Meringue. And who else do I have? Oh my gosh, I got this one that I thought I wasn't gonna like. He's a very grumpy looking bunny. His name's Gaston. And I like had Adam look up who he was because he moved in without me like inviting him. And he was like, oh, he's a grumpy villager. People don't like him. I love him. Like, he's a little bit grumpy, but like in a very sweet way. Like the other day I went up to talk to him at night, and he was like, the night's only just begun. My old bones are just like, he's just so sweet. I love him. I don't know why people don't like him. So I have him. Who else do I have? I have Rory. He's a lion. He's one of my first ones. I don't like him very much, but they say it's really hard for your first villagers to leave. So, and then who else? I feel like that wasn't all of them, obviously, but those are like the big ones that I'll talk about right now. Someone was asking if I was going to read A Ballad of Songbirds and Snake. I actually answered this in my live show from last time. I'm not really interested in it. It's just like I loved The Hunger Games when it came out and everything, but I'm just not really interested in The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I don't know. I feel like my experience with the series is like done. And if I'm not following Katniss, so I'm gonna wait for reviews and see if it's like worth reading. If a ton of people are obviously enjoying it and love it, then yeah, I'll go out and buy it, but I'm gonna hold off on it. I'm not gonna be reading it right away. Oh my gosh, there's a villager named Ketchup. That's so cute. All right, so. Oh, this one's kind of funny. So Burrows and Books was asking if I'm going to read Midnight Sun, and I think I will, just because I actually haven't reread the Twilight series in ages. And I mean, I think it would be pretty interesting in general to reread the Twilight series. I'm not ready for it yet, I don't think, but since Midnight Sun is basically going to be Twilight, but from Edward's perspective, right? That's what it was originally supposed to be. So I haven't looked into what it's supposed to be now, but I think it's still supposed to be that. It's just going to be like rereading the first book. So I think I'm gonna read it. I think it'll be kind of funny, and I might even vlog it just because, I mean, Twilight was iconic, for a while. We can give it a lot of crap for being just like not a great book, like not anything special. The writing was definitely nothing like out of this world, but I mean, it brought us together at one point, and I did love Twilight for a while, so I'm gonna reread Midnight Sun for sure. Ooh, what am I currently reading? So I actually just finished a couple of books the other day, and yesterday I didn't pick up anything because, again, I got a headache like halfway through the day, and so I just didn't pick anything up. But I do plan. I'm currently participating in the Asian Readathon, and I think that I'm going to start the Little Fires Everywhere audiobook today, but I have to actually go and find it because it's not on Scribd or my library. Well, it's in my library, but it'll take like a while to get to me because there's apparently like 200 plus people waiting for it. So I'm just going to use an Audible credit, I think, which is a bummer because I don't know if I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a literary fiction kind of person, and I want to read it just for this readathon, and I do want to do like the watch along as well. And I don't own it physically, so I'm just going to use an Audible credit. But if I hate it, that's okay. It's fine. All right. So, Kim, I actually don't know if Audible credits can be gifted. That's not something that I'm like familiar with. I feel like I never really like look into Audible's stuff. I just kind of use it whenever all my other options fail, so I just don't know too much about it. I don't think like I do just have like my monthly subscription where I have an Audible credit every single month to use, and I haven't used like the last 3 months. So it's not like I'm short on Audible credits or anything like that. I just like to try and save them for books that I really want to own for forever in an Audible form. Oh, dang. My dad's calling. Do I answer? One second, guys. I'm gonna mute. All right, sorry about that. I had a phone call from my dad because he's doing something for me for a secret project that I'm doing for Adam, my boyfriend, and he was just calling in to give me an update, and I really needed to answer because he now lives somewhere that like rarely ever has cell signal, so when he has cell signal, I try and answer. Oh, and then my phone case, I love it too. I had the same boring OtterBox for the longest time, and I finally went on to Casetify. It's spelled like case and then TIFY.com because Kendall Ray, she's a true crime YouTuber who I love, she had like a discount code for them in one of her videos, and I was really intrigued because they're still supposed to be like really drop resistant and everything. So I went ahead and got myself one, and I love it. It's just like the constellations, and it kind of like gets holographic, but that's not on purpose, I don't think. Ashlyn, I would never cut my hair short. I've cut my hair short every single time it's gotten long. So that's been like 3 times. So when I was in fourth grade, third grade. When I was in third grade, I cut my own hair. I actually did a really good job. And I cut it down to here because, like right here, because my grandma was cutting her hair and I was like intrigued, and I used to always chop the hair off my Barbies. So why not me? But it was actually nice and even, which is surprising. And then I let it grow back out. It grew all the way down to like a normal length. And then in 6th grade, I cut my hair again. And this time my mom cut it because she's like, you can't cut your own hair. And guess what? She totally messed it up. So a little 3rd grade me did a better job than my mom, but she did her best. But it was really, really short. That was not right. And then I let it grow all the way back out. And then in my freshman year of college, I chopped it off again to like right at my shoulders, but it was for a philanthropy event. So like in sororities and fraternities, there are philanthropy events, and in one of them, like you could donate your hair to get extra points for your sorority. And I was like, well, why not? So I chopped it off, but fun fact, because my hair was dyed, I never was able to actually donate it. So I got the points, but I also got to keep my hair, and I kept it. So every once in a while, I'll like find the bag again and deep in storage, and I'm like, my hair would be that much longer if I'd never cut it off. So I've learned my lesson. I officially am never gonna really cut my hair short again unless something drastic happens. But it takes so long for my hair to grow, so it's not worth it. And here, I will talk about my, I need to like actually get going. This is all I've gotten so far. But my major in uni, I was a psychology major. So I studied psychology for all of my college, and I graduated, and yeah, I may or may not use psychology. I'm really interested in psychology, but I think it's more like I'm interested in how people think, and I'm not very interested in the whole counseling side of it. So it makes it a little bit more difficult. But I mean, at the moment, I'm just not really interested in pursuing a career in it. But if one day I need to, at least I have a degree and I can continue on with grad school or something. Because with psychology alone, like you would probably need to go to grad school to get some kind of career. And here, I'm gonna write down, you guys can leave some questions, but I'm gonna actually get at least Monday and Tuesday written down really quick. How do I want to do this? All right, I think I want to do like an up down, but I don't know. I don't think I want to do Dutch doors. I ended up deciding that that wasn't for me. Dutch doors, if you were wondering, are like where you cut out the pages. I'm trying to find where I did it. So like this, where like you cut them in half. But I didn't love how that turned out, so I'm just gonna do a regular kind of up down thing. Maria, that's actually super interesting. My big in my sorority, she I think is doing something very similar, and she was telling me about it because because I was interested in forensics with psychology. I thought that that would be probably the way that I would go with it, and she originally was too. And then when she got into grad school and everything, she got really into I believe it was psychological assessments, so like all like the testing and everything. And she was telling me about it. It's definitely not my thing. I'm not like the way that she was describing it, at least what she was specifically going for, it was very like mathematical kind of. And I'm good at math, but I'm not like in love with math at all. So my journal is an Archer and Olive. This is just a regular Archer and Olive. I also always leave like my bullet journaling supplies. Well, not always, but in the last bullet journal video I did, I left all my supplies linked. So if you were wondering where anything that I'm using today is, it would be linked in that video. And then as far as my roommates and this house, I mean, my roommates love it. It's their house, you know, they grew up in this one. And me and my boyfriend, we're liking it. We're chilling, honestly. It's nice. It's chill. We're not very picky, honestly. Yes, I love astrology, guys. So I have recently gotten even like more into zodiac signs and everything. I feel like I was always interested in it, and then I became friends with Mika here on Booktube, and she is super into it, and then it like really reignited my own passion in it. So my sun sign is Virgo, my moon sign is Pisces, and then my rising sign is Capricorn. So if you know a lot about astrology, it just makes a lot of sense for my personality, because whenever I tell someone I'm a Virgo, they're like, are you sure? Because Virgos are supposed to be very like, there's definitely aspects of Virgo in my personality, 100%, but I don't have the work ethic of a Virgo. I definitely have the work ethic of a Pisces. So, and then my TikTok, I actually don't know what my TikTok name is. I want to say, I feel like it's been a really long time of me actually being on Booktube without saying what my last name is. And I don't know why for so long I just never wanted to say it. And I think that it finally like got exposed by myself on TikTok. And because I think my last name's in my TikTok. Oh, I love those. I need to favorite that just to. Yeah, so my TikTok handle is at BEE, like a honeybee, and then CECIL. So yeah. All right. BC reads, a Pisces work ethic. I mean, this is not like, again, so much of your personality comes in from like the other signs in your chart. So, but a Pisces in general is very like free spirited, go with the flow. Like they're just having a good time. I don't know. It's like if anyone's ever going to be late to a get together, it'll probably be a Pisces. And I'm always late. Like I'm never on time to anything. I just have a really bad work ethic. I procrastinate a lot. Yeah, I mean, I guess I wouldn't say a bad work ethic, because at the end of the day, I definitely get work done. But if you compare like my work ethic to like my boyfriend's, he's always on top of everything. He's very self-motivated. While for me, like I cannot work on something until it's the very last minute. I don't know, something in my brain just completely blocks me from it. So yeah, that's what I say when I mean like I'm not very much like a Virgo in the sense of a work ethic. Megan, so there's a lot of ways to do it, but I feel like one of the more popular ways is the app. I want to say it's CoStar. I always say cosine and then I get confused. But it's like this app in the middle, so it's like a dark app with a little half moon, and it's called CoStar. If you know your like time that you were born, the place you were born, and all that good stuff, you'll be able to get like your chart. I'm not terribly fond of CoStar, if I'm going to be honest. I think it's a great like first step to figuring everything out about yourself, but I want to say like a lot of their descriptions are super simplistic, And it also really makes me sad because whenever I check my co-star, it's just saying that I'm struggling. Like no one, I mean, everyone else is telling them like, today you're gonna be very motivated and this, and that. And mine's always like, good luck. Like you're gonna have a hard time until 2022. 2022, that's what it told me. So yeah, I just don't like co-star because of that. Ooh, some booktuber recommendations. I feel like that's fun. Oops, sorry. I yeah, I've actually wanted to kind of do maybe some sort of like shout out style thing. I actually do have, if you go to my channel page on the side, I have some recommendations of like 10 booktubers that I really adore. And they're probably gonna be the ones that I talk about right now. But Mika from Mika August, she doesn't post a lot, but when she does, she's amazing. I love Noria from Noria Reads. I love Books with Chloe. I feel like that one's a pretty obvious one. I'm trying to like refrain from like huge ones, but uh, I love The Irish Reader. If you don't follow him, he's amazing. He makes such like creative content. Who else is like will automatically watch anything? I'm gonna be quite honest, I haven't been watching that much booktube videos lately. I've been watching a lot more of like the other sides of YouTube that I'm interested in. So like true crime, I've been watching a lot of Kendall Ray. I've been watching a lot of like lifestyle channels. I really like Mia Maples. She's just funny. What else have I been watching? Oh, so what's his name? There's this gaming YouTuber that I've been really liking for Animal Crossing. I think it's called like Austin John Plays. He's really good. Like, and he doesn't do any of like time traveling in Animal Crossing, so it's been kind of fun to watch him. Like, he's still done amazing. And yeah. What inspired me to become a booktuber? That's a good question. I feel like it was just something that I knew I would know how to do, if that makes any sense. I really loved books, obviously, but I've always been into YouTube in general. Like, I used to watch makeup videos basically nonstop. That was like the only part of YouTube that I would watch. But I was really young when I actually first started this channel. Like, none of those videos are up anymore, but I was like a senior in high school, so that was 2013, 2014. And at the time, I was just like, yeah, that's not really the side of booktube I'd want to be on. And I tried booktube videos, but I only made videos for like a year and then I just stopped. And when I restarted again, it was just like, it just felt natural to be in the book community rather than any other part of the community. But I feel like now that I've been doing booktube for so long, I feel a lot more comfortable on camera and things like that. And that's why I've been thinking about starting a secondary channel. But I mean, my problem is I still don't know what I want to do as my first video. Like, I'm blocked. So I don't know what to do for the first video, and that's why there hasn't been another channel or another update on that. All right, I am going to write Monday and Tuesday. I am going to do this. What do I want to do, though? Maybe I will do Dutch doors. I know I said I wasn't going to, but now I'm confused and stuck. So, you know, that's how it's gonna have to be, I guess. I'm just gonna do it. We're cutting out the Dutch doors. I don't know why I marked that side. That was dumb. I feel like part of the reason I don't like Dutch doors is because I make them really thick because I feel bad cutting my paper. And then I just end up having like these really thick papers. But here, let me see if I could actually do. So, oh yeah, I think I'll be able to fit quite a few on these. Nice. So, 1, 2. Nice. Okay. Sweet. So, as far as like Enneagram types, I've had a lot of trouble figuring out my Enneagram. I feel like I relate a lot more to my Myers-Briggs personality type, and I have seen that if you relate a lot to your Myers-Briggs, then you're probably going to not relate a lot to your Enneagram. And every single time I've taken the Enneagram test, I've gotten a different personality type, so I don't even consider it, honestly. I don't think that it works for me. As far as my Myers-Briggs, it is an ENTP, so it's the debater. But yeah, I mean, if you know about personality types, then that's a fun fact. But I don't know. I probably have to retake my Myers-Briggs because I feel like I definitely was a debater for a good part of my life. But I feel like if I were to retake it, it might not be the same, but we'll see. The thing is, it's like the line between my like introvert and extrovert, so like the I versus the E in the very beginning is very, very slim. So I even every time that I've taken it, I'm like 60% extroverted while I'm like 40% introverted. So it's a slim line. MC Turner asked if I could do what Chloe did and pick a random book from my shelf and read it. I think that that would be pretty fun. I actually just watched her vlog on it, and it was really inspiring just because, I mean, in general, I feel like we all have those books on our shelves that we want to get to eventually, but it's going to take a minute to get to. So I think that it was really cool. And she ended up loving it. I think it was like one of her favorite books that she's read in general. So I thought that that was a really good experience for her. And I mean, I don't know if I'd have the same experience. I feel like I'd end up finding like a book that was like meh. But especially because I recently, since I did kind of clear my shelves from any books that I'm not like immediately interested in, it makes it a little bit harder because I've actually read a good portion now of all the books that are on my current shelves. So we'll see. We'll see though. I do think that it would be a fun video. Momo asked if I'm going to read during this live stream. No, I'm not going to be reading again. You guys can definitely read. I'm actually about to do a 15-minute break because I keep like about to start my bullet journal and I keep getting distracted. So let's actually do that. I'm going to set a timer for 15 minutes. You guys can pick up a book and read if you would like to, or do whatever you want. Personally, I'm going to do a spread or two on this journal. And yeah, and then we'll get back to some chit chats. So setting a timer for 15 minutes and talk to you then.
Nice. All right, I actually got the outline of what I want my weeks to look like. So if you're curious, this is kind of where it's going. So I did end up doing a Dutch door. I actually want to round out the corners eventually because it kind of annoys me when it's just squared out. And then I just wrote in kind of like blocks the days of the week, like the actual date. And then I kind of wrote in cursive the day it is. So like the 11th Monday. And then we have it all the way to here. This area, I'm not sure. I know that one of them I kind of want to make like a shopping list. And then maybe on the other side, so like either this side or this side, I'll make the shopping list. And then I'll just doodle wherever else. And then I did write like little to-do list squares because I like to-do lists, but I left only space for like the top 4 things that I know I have to do for the day. And then the rest of the area can either be like an hourly kind of schedule or more of like what I ended up doing for that day. I really like doing that. Last month, I like at the end of the day would write out like all the stuff that I did, whether it was important or not. So, because I have a bad memory. So yeah, let's see what you guys have been up to. Maria asked if I watch Peru's Project. I actually do. I haven't watched some of her newer videos, but I used to be absolutely obsessed with her. Taylor asked, how do I stay motivated with bullet journaling? For me, it's more about the fact that if I'm not planning out my days, I'm not getting anything done. It's just I have a bad memory. I have a pretty short attention span too. So even if I knew what I was supposed to do, if I don't write it down, I'm going to forget like within the like few minutes. Like even just if I start the task, if I get distracted, anything like that. So I do have to like write out my whole list of what I have to do for the day. And if I don't do that, then I will likely miss a few things. So that's why I keep bullet journaling. It definitely takes some time and I do like it. I think it motivates me to also just be a little bit more creative and be able to doodle and draw and kind of like calm down. And it keeps me a lot less anxious because my anxiety normally stems from the fact that I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting something. So if I'm writing everything down, then I don't have nearly as much anxiety or any at all. I actually don't think I've been anxious at all for like the past few months, which is nice. Here, let me see. Star Dancer asked what my favorite eyeshadow palette is. I actually don't really have one. I have
a lot of eyeshadow palettes, so I don't really have like a go-to one. I tend to really like the like Anastasia, not the Modern Renaissance palette, but there's like an orange one that came out right after. I think it's like the Soft Glam palette. I really like that one. I didn't answer what my Mercury, Venus, and Mars are. I actually am not 100% sure if those are correct in CoStar, which is why I haven't like gone for it, but let's actually see what it says because I don't really remember. Let's see what depressing message CoStar has for me today. Anita, in the meantime, Anita asked, how do I control myself and not spend all my money on books? I have a lot of other interests is the problem. I love books, but I feel like at the moment I'm very like okay with the books that I have, so I haven't felt the need to spend all my money on them. And instead I go through like different obsessions, I guess is what I'm saying is. So like there will be months where like all I can think about is new books that I want to buy, while like right now the kind of obsession area that I'm in is like interior decorating slash like clothing. So I'm really into that kind of stuff, and that's been kind of hard to like keep myself from spending all my money. But like I just normally my like online shopping method is that I'll add a whole bunch of stuff to my cart and then I will like not buy it immediately, and whatever ends up not being in my cart the next time I go to shop, it's just like meant to not happen. And I will normally keep things in my cart for a really long time before biting the bullet and spending my money. I just don't like spending money. So I think that's what keeps me from not spending all my money. Dragonstone asked when or where did I learn to draw? I always kind of had a little bit of a knack for drawing in general. Like it wasn't like necessarily that I was good at it right away, but I just really liked doing it. So I kept at it. And then I actually got into, my high school was an art school, so I got into it for art, and I was like a little bit more refined there. I was more refined there, but I only did it for 2 years, and then I switched my major because I didn't like having to do things in art. And since then, it's just kind of been self-taught. So, so again, my CoStar thing is telling me that I just need time and space for my mind and my emotions and my thoughts. And to ask myself which of my emotional needs motivate my behavior. Interesting. So my Mercury, Mars, and what was the other one? My Mercury is in Libra, Mars is Cancer, and so is Venus. I think that was the other question. But those are the only two Cancer in my chart. Cancer is the only like emotional thing, I guess, in my chart. That's funny. So Nikki, I don't know. I think I got really lucky with Booktube because I don't think I did anything different or special. I feel like what really helped my channel, like what really like started getting it into a rhythm and like getting more of a following was having vlogs. It worked for me. I know that it's not for everyone. It's just kind of like finding your like niche in Booktube. So like for me, I guess it was vlogs. For a lot of people, it can be like really in-depth book reviews or specific genres, or like those cool like vlogs where it's secret TBRs. I think like it just depends on kind of what I guess your personality works best with and what people end up liking on your channel. So, but other than that, I don't really have any tips. I guess social media is another bigger one because until I got onto Twitter, I feel like I didn't even know what Booktube wanted, if that makes any sense. I feel like BookTwitter has a really big influence on just like making friends on Booktube and things like that. Sorry, it just loaded, so now a lot of people's questions disappeared. Oh, here. Okay. So, oh, thanks, Sam. But I mean, me too, honestly, because I feel like I should be doing some training for work right now. My job, like not my booktube job, we have some like training for our home stuff because we can't be in stores. And I haven't, there's like a whole bunch of new training that just came out that I probably should be doing, but instead we're here. But you know, this is important because I need to be able to write everything down or else I'm gonna forget about it, like I said. So how do I plan out my days during quarantine? I feel like I'm really such a bad person to ask about this because I have noticed quarantine has not affected my uh, emotional needs, I guess. I've never, I don't know. I guess I'm introverted in the way that I really just don't need to ever leave my house. Like I'm okay when I'm outside and I like don't mind being in crowds or anything like that, but like if I'm at home all day, I don't notice a difference. I can be locked in my book room all day doing like work related things or reading or editing or gaming and I just don't end up feeling like I missed anything in my day. So for me, quarantine has been a little bit frustrating because of that, because we have like a group chat with our work and everyone is just obviously missing work and they're like, I miss you all. I miss being at work. I miss seeing everybody. Like, I hate like just being in my house. And it's been so strange for me to realize that like I am different in that sense because I always thought that everyone was like secretly like this, where it's okay to just be alone all day. And I've realized that this is not normal. I don't know how I entertain myself for hours on end. This is probably an only child thing. Like I was always okay being an only child, and it's coming out real strong in quarantine because I just don't feel the need to leave and or even to plan out my days. Like if I end up sitting in bed all day, I do end up feeling like I feel unproductive, but that's more of like a guilt trip thing. Like I feel like I should have done something all day. So I try and get some work done. Normally, what I end up doing is I just have to leave my room. Like that's it. Like that's the big part for me. Like if I leave my room and I go into my book room, I will like find a whole bunch of stuff to do because there is so much for me to do at home. Like whether it's reading or journaling or editing or planning out a video or filming, there is so much to be done that I'm not ever looking for things to do. And if all of that is finished and I still haven't like felt motivated, then I'm like, oh, well, now I can do yoga. Like, I have no days off in general. Like, when I'm working and I'm at work, like before quarantine, I never had a day off, technically. Like, in my head, it was a day off, but in reality, it wasn't because when I get home, I'm just doing booktube work. On the weekends, I'm just filming and doing booktube work. And when I'm reading, it can even sometimes feel like work because a lot of times, like, I feel like I almost like have to read for a video or something like that. I enjoy the process, but it's not like taking a break. So for me, like when I end up gaming or like watching TV all day, like that's a day off for me. So um I feel like I didn't answer that question very well. I'm sorry. Estefany asked if I watch Clau reads books or any other Mexican/Spanish speaking booktubers. I actually don't. I don't know why. I just have never really gone out of my way to find Spanish speaking booktubers. I know that I would understand the content, but I think it's mostly because I don't read in Spanish. Um, like I can read in Spanish, but I prefer not to. I read a lot slower. So I just look more for the English side of booktube. So I don't have any recommendations. I didn't even realize it was a thing until last year. I stumbled upon some video that was completely Spanish, and it clicked in my head, like, of course, the Spanish-speaking booktubers. Until that moment, I hadn't even realized, like, it just wasn't something that I was searching for, I guess. Miriam, as far as Netflix shows, I could talk a lot about Netflix shows in the beginning, so I'll just I'm watching Lucifer right now. Oh, that's so cool. So Zara, I wish my school had had a creative writing major because we didn't. We were more of a performing arts school, I guess. When you think about it, like I mean, art isn't really performing art, but all the other majors were basically performing arts. So this is a cool question. So I decided to pick up a book like audibly or physically, based actually entirely on whether I want to read it physically. I feel like for me, since it takes so long now to read books physically, and it's not something that I can multitask with, like I can't clean the house and read a book physically. I have to just sit there for hours and finish the book, obviously, which is something that I used to be able to do, but now there's so much on my plate that it's harder to pick things up physically. And so that's kind of like the distinction. Like if I really, really love a book and I think that I'm going to like need to experience it to its fullest extent, so like Crescent City, Queen of Nothing, Dark Dawn, like these are all books, Chain of Gold even, like that I don't want to read audibly, because even though I can read it audibly, it's something that I really want to like fully immerse myself in instead of like 3/4 immerse myself in, because with audiobooks, no matter what I'm doing, it's only like a 3/4 there. Like I don't absorb it 100%, it's more of like a 75%. So that's normally the distinction for me. Okay, sorry. I went like really far back to see uh am I still lagging? Because it could definitely be that one of my roommates, he games, so he might have actually hopped on to whatever it is. I think they do Overwatch. So that could definitely be like lagging my internet a little bit. Let me try turning off the Wi-Fi on my other computer. MC Turner. So my wish list, this is actually something that I kind of feel bad about. I hadn't updated my address on it because I just hadn't posted it in so long. The last time I posted my wish list anywhere from my Amazon wish list, it was last year around my birthday. And I hadn't thought how people can still find it. So I hadn't updated the address, but someone recently, like just actually today, told me that they had sent me something, and I was like, oh no. So I did finally update my address on it, and I went through and kind of deleted some of the books that I've already bought for myself. So it is technically like updated. It's not super updated though. I will try and do that later today and just kind of go through it and make sure that everything is up to date. So yeah, it's not a big deal though, because I do still like know the people that's in my old house. So at least like if it gets sent there, it's not the be all end all, but yeah. Yeah, I don't really know what to do about the lagging, honestly, guys. Like, do you have any recommendations? Because I don't know if there's like anything that I can do from my end for the lagging, unless it's like turning this off and then coming back. But I think that ends the live show. So oh, there's a little area for having issues. Let's see. For Animal Crossing friend requests, I don't know. I don't think I will, just because like as fun as I think Animal Crossing is, I still haven't even like gone to anyone else's islands or anything like that. And I don't like I haven't invited anyone to my islands. I don't know. I get too distracted, and then I'm also not proud of my island yet, so I just like am not doing it. And I don't know how it works exactly, if I'm going to be honest. So I am not doing the friend request thing yet. But if I do, I will let you guys know. I'll probably update on Twitter though, or maybe in a vlog. And then MC Turner. I don't know what's really high up on my wish list right now. I guess, but I'm about to buy it for myself because I need it right away, you know? I'm actually about to buy Uzumaki, the manga, because I know that I wanted it for my TBR for this month. So that one's, I guess, like the highest up on my list, but everything else is just like a bonus, sort of. So yeah, I don't even think I added Uzumaki to my wish list because I knew that I wanted to buy it right away. So we'll see. Yeah, Nikki, me too, honestly. Basically, with how I've done it, with like people that I know, we just texted each other our friend codes. You can find your friend code like in your account area, not in Animal Crossing. It's like in your account. That's how I've done it, at least though, with my friends. I think that there's like a different way to do it as well, but I haven't quite figured that out yet. Mm, so Francesca asks what my favorite spread in my bullet journal is so far. I actually don't think I have one. I just started my bullet journal, like my real, I keep saying real bullet journal, like my reading one isn't a real bullet journal, but it is. I don't really have one because it just started last month, and last month I actually was still getting the hang of it, and I was copying Amanda Rachel Lee's spread for the month, so like I don't really want to talk about that one. It's not like a favorite spread. That was one that was already done and I just kind of copied. And I'm trying to like see like my beginning of the year spreads, and I don't love these ones either, so I don't really have one, but eventually I will. I know. Hi, Melissa. Game Express. I mean, it's up to your personal preference, obviously. So, like, if you don't think you would like Animal Crossing, then it's not going to be great for you. Uh, and yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about it because it just depends. I mean, I love little cute animals and I love decorating. So, Animal Crossing works out well for me in that sense. As far as like, is it very intense or anything? No. If I want to like be, I don't know. It's kind of a weird situation because obviously, like, The Witcher is probably like my favorite game that I've ever played, video game, and that's a completely different kind of situation than Animal Crossing, and that sucks me in way more. Like, as far as like Animal Crossing, I will play it for like a whole day, but I will feel it when I play it for a whole day. You know, I'm like, oh, that was hard because it can definitely just be a little bit of a slower process. While like with something like The Witcher, where like you're constantly fighting and like leveling up and things like that, it goes by a lot quicker. Mariana or Mariana, T'Challa and Luna are actually sleeping in my room, so they're not in here with me right now. So if they come in, though, obviously we'll hang out with them. Um, it just disappeared, but someone asked if I could read a Spanish book sometime, and I guess I could. I just don't. I like I said, I read a lot slower in Spanish, so it's not something I would want to do. It's just not like a preference for me. Oh, here, Catalina. Yeah, it's just not a preference. I would have to go out of my way to find a book that I would rather read in Spanish than in English, or maybe even like a reread. I think that would be kind of interesting. So like I did buy Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone in Spanish, so like potentially I could do that. It's just not something again that like at the moment I'm interested in doing, but maybe in the future for sure. It's just a little harder too because I know that the majority of my audience speaks English. Like while I do have some amazing like Spanish fans that I always appreciate, I love receiving comments in Spanish. It just like, I don't know, it makes me feel good. But I know that the majority of people speak English, so it would just be like, it just, I don't know. I don't know if it would hit as hard as I would prefer it to for like the effort it would take, if that makes sense. My lazy personality is coming out. I'm sorry, guys. Hi, Diana. Ashlyn, I get this question a lot, so I'm just going to answer this really fast. What book subscription box is my favorite? I don't necessarily have a favorite between Owlcrate and Fairy Loot. I talked about this in my last live stream. They're pretty even for me. When Fairy Loot fails, Owlcrate wins, and when Owlcrate fails, Fairy Loot wins. They just have a very similar quality. So yeah, I guess like if I were paying for my own subscription boxes and I could only pick one, I think I would end up going for Fairy Loot just because I feel like I tend to like the books they pick more. So like that's really the distinguishing factor for me. But that's hard because that means I would never get a Karakozik mug again, and I really love the Karakozik mugs that are in Owl Crate. So that's difficult. Gwendolyn, I've seen this question a couple of times, so I'm just gonna try and answer it really quick. But I have mentioned this, but I don't tend to read a lot of underrated series. I guess it works out that way. So I don't really have a book or book series that I feel passionately about that I think has not received the attention it deserves. I'm trying to search my shelves right now to see. It's just hard because I feel like the ones that I love that I see a lot of like hate for are ones that I love because I'm me. You know, like books are so specific to like the kind of person you are. And I get why other people don't like them. So like right now, recently, it hurts my heart. It definitely does. But I've been seeing a lot of hate towards the Nevernight series trilogy, and I get it though. Like I understand the complaints about it. Like I understand that people like don't love the writing style or can't get into the writing style or don't like the annotation notes. Like I understand it. I totally get that. It just worked for me. So like I'm still gonna love that series forever, and I think it's super high quality. That's not even underrated. I feel like a lot of people know about Nevernight, but like that's kind of like my example when I say that I understand when people don't like the books that I love. My favorite graphic novel or manga series, I still haven't read that much manga, and I feel like I'm always going to be a little bit partial to the first manga that I ever read, which was the Rave Master manga series. So that's what I'm going to go with for right now. Oh gosh, it's loading pretty quick. Francesca, hello. I don't have any favorite books about psychology. Again, it's more of like a side hobby, and there's so many books that I currently read just for booktube that I've never really picked one up for psychology. But I'd love some recommendations. I love psychology, but I just don't know when I'd be able to get to it, if that makes sense. Oh gosh, this is loading really quick. I'm sorry if I'm missing any questions. My poor laptop is starting to like make a lot of noise. Anita, I actually think that starting, so she says that she speaks Spanish and she wants to start reading in English. And if I have any tips or any book for her to start with, my cousin actually, when he was in here in Vegas in the beginning of the year, he had a similar kind of question. So I had put some thought into it, and I decided that middle grade would probably be the best place to start. So like Harry Potter, because Harry Potter has a really simple writing style in the very beginning, at least, and it grows as the books grow. So I think it would be a good series to start with to your own reading, uh, understanding, comprehension. Naomi, I've seen the question a couple of times. I just don't exactly understand it, which is why I haven't answered. So let's try it. Let's try and understand this. If you could time travel and go back in time to release any of your favorite books instead of the actual author, what book would you release and why? Oh, so like, oh, okay, I get it. I get it. So like, if I wrote the book instead of the author. Oh, I don't think I would. I feel like obviously Throne of Glass is like very, very close to my heart, and that's probably one of my favorite series. And if I ever felt like I would write anything, it would probably be pretty like I used to actually when I was young like write mini books in my computer, and I had a plot that was pretty similar to Throne of Glass slash like Falling Kingdoms and things like that. So I guess it would be kind of like that, but I don't necessarily want to publish it myself. Like I love Sarah J. Maas so much. I want her writing, you know, I don't think I could do it justice. I have not read the Avatar The Last Airbender graphic novels. I have been thinking about it though, so I just don't own them yet. So right now I'm just still trying to get through like my current TBR. So I've been getting a lot of questions about like books that I just don't own if I've read them yet. And a big reason why I haven't even read them is because I don't own them. So Yeah, my questions are lagging too, so I don't know what to do about this. My like poor laptop is overheating, so I might have to end this live show soon because it seems like the lag keeps coming back, and it's probably a little bit because of like potentially my roommate is gaming, so like the internet in general is going to be a little bit confused on my end. Here, we're gonna take like a 15-minute or a 10-minute break. Hopefully that can make the lag go away. I am having just like a lot of questions load in right now, which is strange. So we're gonna do a 10-minute break. I'm gonna finish up my bullet journal, and then if it hasn't resolved itself by then we might be having to close out the live show. All right, so 10 minutes on the clock. Oh, I also just realized it's actually really windy outside too, so that could also be having an effect on the internet. Sorry about that. gosh. I finished up my spread, so I was looking through what you guys were saying, and it's just so sweet. I love how you guys all talk to each other, and it really is such a wholesome chat, so thank you guys for that. It's really nice to see all of that love. And Naomi, I keep seeing everyone like mentioning it, but thank you so much for being on the front lines. Like, I can't imagine how stressful it is, and I'm just glad that it's really sweet that you say that like being here makes you so happy. It makes me like, I don't know. It's crazy to think that this can have any kind of impact during the quarantine, like having this kind of hangout with everybody can have an impact. But I mean, it's cool to see that it does. It's cool that it helps in any way possible. I mean, it's why I do it, really. Just because I don't feel like I'm that fun in live shows, but I know that it's something that you guys crave. So we're here and we're trying, but thank you again for everyone that is here. And I did finish up like the simple part of my bullet journal. So if you were wondering, this is how it ended up looking. And it's just that, again, I still need to like figure out which side I want my shopping list on, because I really need stuff. And the rest I'm probably gonna doodle. So if anything, maybe I'll do an update on it on my Instagram. So if you want to follow me there, I will post either in my story like a picture or a video of how it ended up looking. So yeah, and my Instagram's the same handle as my YouTube handle, if you're wondering. And nice. And then Melissa, if you're asking about my desktop, yeah, it is working. As far as like the lagging issue though, I don't think it would help. The problem is, so StreamYard, this service that I'm using to do this live show, they're not able to work on Safari. They work on Google Chrome and like Firefox and all that, and I don't have Google Chrome on my desktop. I had it on my laptop a while ago, which is why I'm doing it off my laptop, but I don't know. I feel like it's funny for me to talk about this, but I was like doing research one day, and then I found out that like Google Chrome, I mean, it's a great browser, but the reason it's so great is because it's using a lot of your information to be great, and then that made me like uncomfortable, and that's why I switched back over to Safari, because Safari is like very secure and very safe, and they don't use any of your information. So I don't want to put Google Chrome at all on my desktop. And since it's already been on my laptop, it doesn't feel like a big deal. So that's why we're just streaming from my laptop. But I feel like that's just me being dramatic, honestly, guys. Like, don't worry, your information's not going to get stolen or anything if you have Google Chrome. It just is me being like paranoid. So yeah. And good night, Naomi. Thanks for being here so late into the night. I hope you have a good night, and I will see you in the next one. And Abby, incognito window is still, if you're still using Google Chrome, it's still technically using like partially your information, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I'm not as smart as the people that were explaining this to me, so I'm probably not doing this right, but that is why I don't add it onto my desktop. That would actually be, I was recently thinking about this because I actually remember most of my dreams, if not all of them. Like, it's a very, very rare day if I didn't dream or don't remember having a dream. I just don't know if I necessarily want to make a dream journal, because I thought about it. I thought it would be cool just because I think that my dreams get really interesting and intricate, but 90% of my dreams are kind of on the creepy side, like nightmarish. So I don't know if I want to log all that, you know? I mean, at this point, like, I'm very used to my nightmares. That's why it's not like startling to me. Like, I don't wake up terrified or anything like that. But if I were to write it down, I'd be like, dang, what is going on in that head, you know? But I have been thinking about it just because I think it would be interesting to like go back to it, because I think that for me, a dream journal would spark a lot of ideas creatively for like books, because I think that I have a lot of issues with creativity and finding creativity in myself. So I feel like it would be a really good place to start for me. Someone asked who explained the Safari versus Google Chrome thing to me, and it was one of my coworkers. They, like, a lot of my coworkers are very techy and computer-y and understand computers and all that stuff very, very well. So it was one of them. It's actually multiple people from my and explained it things to me. And after that, I was like terrified to use Google Chrome. I mean, terrified isn't even the right word, guys. Like, I don't want you to think Google Chrome is sitting here like stealing all your information. It's more of like using it to better their own sites. So like, I don't know. I can't explain it. I shouldn't even try because I'm not smart enough to explain this. I did not get a computer degree. I'm not that techie. Oh, and Naomi, it's no big deal. I actually, she was saying thanks for answering her complicated question. It wasn't even complicated. Once I read it out loud, sometimes you just have to read things out loud to completely understand it. Because initially I just thought I was getting confused. That's on me. I haven't necessarily done a whole video on it. I think that I've talked about it a lot, though. I know in the last live show I kind of gave a very brief exactly how we met, just because, I mean, it's just, I don't know, it doesn't seem very cutesy in my opinion. Like, I think the way that we met is kind of funny than anything else. Like, the whole start of our relationship was more like hilarious to me than anything else, because it really started with like my big sis and my sorority finding him first and like having a crush on him. But then when she had a new boyfriend was when like it worked between us. And then our first date, like I gave him this BB-8 cup from Star Wars and it was at Chipotle, and I dropped the entire thing like before I could even get to the table. Like, I'm just a mess, guys. Like, I'm a clumsy mess. And that is like basically the start. That's how like I would describe like the start of me and my boyfriend meeting, was like him just finding out that I'm a mess and somehow being okay with it. Melissa, I actually don't know what Roblox is, so no, I do not play it. Dang, I really, guys, I think that like we're gonna have to end this live show because I keep getting a lot of comments saying that it's laggy, and I really actually think that now it's because of the wind. Like, it is quite windy outside. You can't tell because this little area is enclosed in a courtyard, but I've been hearing the wind like knocking up against that window over there. So I think that it's just having an issue with like the Wi-Fi overall. So I think we're just gonna have to close this out. So if there's any like last questions that you guys have, I will hold for a minute. And if there's like any like big one or anything, then I'll answer it. But I think we're gonna have to clock out. Oh wait, I think this is a funny question. This is a funny question to me, so I'm gonna answer it really quick. So, oh wait, let me. Is it Faceli or Facely? I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm very sorry. But asks if it's weird to live in a house full of guys. And no, I mean, kind of, because it's guys, but I've never been much of a girls person in general anyways. Like, yes, I have best friends that are girls. Obviously, I always have, but I get along fairly well, at least with these guys. So it's not that weird. And the other day I was watching New Girl and I was like, hey, that's kind of like my situation. So if you guys watch New Girl or you know of New Girl, like Jess lives in an apartment of like 3 guy best friends. And it's just really funny overall. And like, it's definitely not exactly like that for me because I'm not half as funny or outgoing, I guess, as Jess. And but like it's kind of like that. It's just very chill. Like, guys are chill. And like especially like the guys that I live with, because it's my boyfriend, so he's not doing anything. And then the 2 other guys, they're very like, I mean, they're not introverted necessarily, but like, do they leave their room a lot when they're not playing Overwatch? Or when they're playing Overwatch? No. Ooh, this is an interesting one. So I feel, oh yay, I said you're right. Sorry, I just saw that Veseli replied and said that it's a Spanish name, so I said it right the first time. So nice. So this is an interesting question, I feel like, to leave this vlog off on, because my computer is actually about to die, so if I don't go get my charger from my bedroom, then it's gonna die anyways. Have I ever had a paranormal experience? I feel like this would be an interesting, just general video idea. Probably not for this channel, probably for that other channel that I keep procrastinating on. But I have, and I don't know, my mom, or actually I think it was my boyfriend recently that said that he doesn't think that the houses I live in are haunted, he thinks that I'm haunted. And I think that that's very rude. But like, when I was younger, I guess I used to have a lot of strange experiences, but I feel like it all just has to do with like my dad and his side of the family. Like they're all very like spiritual in that way, and also like have had very interesting experiences. So I just blame him for that, but I've definitely had some very strange experiences. Luckily, like this house so far has felt pretty safe. So nothing to report from here, but I've had some weird times. But it was a lot more when I was younger and not so much now. I think that now I've learned to like just ignore it, you know? Like my whole theory on it is it's like if you pretend it's not happening, then they're gonna think it's not happening and then it's not gonna happen, so it's fine. If that makes any sense. I'm sorry if you guys don't believe in anything paranormal. I personally do, but if you're like sitting here now thinking that I'm absolutely insane, that's totally fine too. Oof. Melissa, that is creepy. If I ever heard a baby crying, I've said it multiple times, I'm not doing anything because that is terrifying. First of all, there's that serial killer. Like there's been multiple killers that will leave a recording of a baby crying outside of a front door so that a woman will leave their house to see if the baby's okay, and then like they will like capture them and kill them or whatever they do with them. And that sketches me out in general. So now I'm totally scarred from ever helping any crying baby in the middle of the night. So there's that. But also, like, paranormally, like, I would not want to hear a baby crying. That is just not it, because that means that baby died in some horrific way. I'm not here for it. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna stop traumatizing you. We'll leave this off with something fun. I know I didn't end up playing Animal Crossing, partially because it took me so long to actually do this spread, and partially because my Switch is actually in my bedroom, so I forgot to bring it. But other than that, I think that this has been a really fun live show. I'm sorry for all the lagging, guys. I really do think that it's actually the wind, so it's been kind of going in and out. So thank you for sticking with me. I'm sorry if you didn't have any fun, and I'm sorry if I didn't answer any of your questions or anything like that. We will definitely have to plan for another one. So let's leave off with something happy, like a happy story time or something. That way I don't leave you with any nightmarish thoughts. Let me think. What happy thing has happened in my life lately? Oh, I guess, okay, so I'll talk about the painting that I did, because if you guys don't follow me on Twitter, then you wouldn't know, and I haven't posted my vlog yet from the weekend, so that's coming either today or tomorrow. But I made a painting over the weekend of my dog. If you guys have been following me for a little while, then you know that last year my 2 dogs that I had both passed away, and it was awful. But the first dog that passed away, it's about to be a year in July, and she was like more of like my mom's favorite dog, and I always kind of thought that I wanted to make a painting of her for my mom and then make a painting of the other one for my dad. And for Mother's Day, I finally kind of got down to business and decided that I was going to do it. And of course, I didn't get started until the night before. So Saturday night, I started the sketch and I had to do the acrylic painting, and I've never done acrylic before in my life, so that was a time. But this is the picture. Let's see. Wait, why can't I find it? Oh, I think it might be in my favorites. Oh. But this is the picture that I based it off of. So this is my Ooh, rainbow, that's kind of fun. So that's the picture that I based off the painting. And then the painting that I ended up doing, I'm not like 100% in love with it, honestly. I think that if I'd given it more time, it would probably have turned out better. But it was pretty dang decent. So this is how the painting turned out. Let's see. There we go. And it was like 12 by 12, so it's not huge. But yeah, that is how that turned out. My mom was in love with it. I'm actually going to show you a couple of pictures that I didn't end up posting because it was so funny. She just kind of kept crying when I was trying to take a picture of her. And I was like, well, she wasn't even crying. She was just like smiling very sadly. Like, I was like, Mom, you have to like stop crying. I'm trying to get a good picture of you. And she was like, I'm so sorry. And then she like, this is one of the pictures that I got of her. If you can see that. She's literally precious. And then when I was kind of making fun of her for crying, she started laughing and I got this picture and I love this picture of her with the painting. So yeah. So that's the little fun, like wholesome fact that I will leave you guys off with so you're not terrified or anything like that. But yeah. Here, let me just make sure that there isn't anything I missed in any of the questions while I was talking. Wait, I can't find the original thing, but who goes live every Sunday on their boyfriend's channel for game night? That sounds like fun. Oh, okay, Haley Reese. I should check that out. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video today, guys. Again, sorry for the lagging. Sorry if it wasn't as fun. The next one, I do want to actually do like a read-in style one. I might like recruit Mika to be here with me. That way it's kind of like more entertaining and we actually have a couple of people on here, not just me chit-chatting with you guys. But that'll be it. Thank you for sticking around. And I'm not exactly sure when the next live show will be, if it'll be on the weekend or not. I try to not plan these on days that I'm also going to post, but I am still kind of hoping to post my vlog later today. But if it's too late, then it'll end up being posted tomorrow. So look out for that if you want more content. And that'll be it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love you so much. I hope you're still staying very, very safe in these quarantine times. I know that it's kind of starting to end for everyone, but that means to stay even safer because we're about to be in contact with each other again. It's strange. So yeah, I will see you guys in my next video and I feel like Twitter's not even a good place to figure out if I'm going to be doing a live. I will try and schedule out my next live 24 hours before I actually do it. So just keep looking on like your subscription page if you're subscribed to me because it should pop up there. And then if you want, you can set a reminder for the next live show. So yeah, I will see you guys then. And thank you so much for watching. Love you. Bye.